The Charlotte Hornets are on a 6-game win streak. And when you look at the standings, you may say they're 11th place. Okay, this doesn't matter. But knocking off the San Antonio Spurs in a very interesting manner is something that we have to talk about. And well, how is this team even doing well right now? We're going to answer all of those questions, and make sure you stick till the end because there's a surprise player that's going to leave you guys shocked. Before we get any further, make sure you hit that like. And well, let's start off with the first standout player, and that is Brandon Miller. The reason why I like Brandon Miller so much is that he's such a unique player. We all think of him as a scorer. He is a scorer. He scored 26 points against the Spurs, but he's much more than that. He could actually initiate a lot of the playmaking for the Hornets. Let me show you exactly why. Over here, he brings the ball up, gives it to LaMelo Ball, sets a screen, and that gives LaMelo more than enough room to knock down the three-point shot. You already know that thing splash. The next play, what does Brandon Miller do? He grabs the ball in the right wing area, instantly hands it off to Miles Bridges, sets him an off-ball screen, and once again, that's more than enough room to knock down the three. You guys see what I mean? Brandon Miller is more than just a scorer. He gets used in very unique situations, and I definitely think the Hornets should use him more as a handoff player. It's very, very overpowered. But the thing that's even more overpowered about Brandon Miller is the sheer fact that he's one of the most patient scorers on this Hornets team, because you could give him the ball in this left wing area, set him a screen, and when he's matched up against Dylan Harper, he will just take you to that paint area and do slow steps until you bite first. Dylan Harper jumps first, and he has more than enough time to go up because he's so patient and get a more open look. And this is what separates Brandon Miller. He's so good at these slow steps, and a lot of youngsters in the league don't like to use this effectively. Brandon Miller is also good at playing the in-between game, something that a lot of young players in the NBA, once again, don't know how to do as well. Over here, when he gets a screen, you can see he's matched up against Victor Wembanyama, and trust me, that's never a good sight when he's in front of you. But what Brandon Miller does is very smart. When he comes off the screen, he sees that De'Aaron Fox is behind him. So what he does is that he bumps him a little bit on that right side, and by the time the big man's right back in the paint, Wemby has to go to the big man, and Brandon Miller can shoot the shot over De'Aaron Fox like he doesn't even exist. It's all about using your body and making sure that you could play this in-between game when a player like Wemby is in front of you. But do you know what's even more crazy? What happens when Brandon Miller has to isolate against Victor Wembanyama? Well, over here, hits him with a crossover, but he knows that there's absolutely no chance when it comes to driving at Wemby. So he just relocates, gives the ball to LaMelo Ball, and by the time he gets right out to that three-point line, Wemby is a little bit too late to get there, and that's a wide open three. So Brandon Miller is good at relocating and knowing that when he has a matchup that's very difficult, to just go back to his three-point shot. But when you have scorers like this on the floor, like Brandon Miller, you would also need a player that is more consistent on the playmaking side. So that brings me on to my second standout player, and that's LaMelo Ball. He's literally the glue of this team. He had 16 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists against the Spurs. But the good thing is he helps everybody get connected on this squad. He could be getting a screen from Brandon Miller, then running it down baseline, and you could see Wemby is too focused on LaMelo Ball's baseline drive that the big man is completely wide open in the paint, and LaMelo finds him for the bucket. It's very important having a player like LaMelo Ball who does chuck up a lot of shots, but at the end of the day, when he chucks up a lot of shots, it increases what we like to call gravity, because now defenders are gonna play you a little bit higher because they know you're a scorer. But LaMelo uses this gravity and passes it to players on his team. We still gotta talk about LaMelo Ball a little bit more, the third standout player and the surprise player of this video that you're gonna want to listen to. So before we get any further, shout out to Sleeper guys, because if you're trying to go over or under on LaMelo Ball assists, or you think Colin Sexton's gonna go for 20 points, you could go on Sleeper and choose whether or not they're gonna go more or less on those stats. And I have a crazy promo for you guys. They give you a 100% deposit match promo if you're a first-time user. Just use code MUVSY, deposit a minimum of $10, and there you go, guys. That's all you need. So make sure you use code MUVSY and download Sleeper. Now let's get right back into LaMelo Ball. And do you guys remember how I was talking about LaMelo Ball's playmaking? Well, what if I told you that's also what unlocks his scoring? Over here, as he's bringing the ball down, he dumps it down to Kon Sexton, who goes up, but then dumps it off to the big man. And look at this. Everybody's worried about the big, and LaMelo is wide open at the top of the three-point line. And you know LaMelo, he's gonna hit you with a pump fake and get right into the paint for an easy floater. So you could see LaMelo Ball scoring, it really happens because he could play make the ball. Let's just say that. Now we got to move on to the third standout player before we even talk about the surprise player at the end, and this is Kon Knueppel. A lot of people talk about his shooting, and rightfully so. The guy is a literal sharpshooter, but he is much more than that, and I want a lot of people to know, because there aren't a lot of rookies in the NBA scoring on Victor Wembanyama. Just take this play for example. He is isolated against Victor Wembanyama at the top of the three-point line. Most rookies wouldn't know what to do here, but Kon knows that he has all the leverage. Victor Wembanyama thinks that Kon's going to shoot, but instead he pump fakes. That gets Wemby to play a little bit higher than expected. Then boom, Kon explodes, gets himself in the paint area, and has to avoid a second defender at the same time, and he still finishes it. I think this Spurs game was a prime example that Kon is much more than a shooter. He's also a very good cutter, gives the ball to the corner, gets inside of the paint. He can do all of those things. But Kon Knueppel is so good that he's literally making history. He's now tied for the most games with 5+ three-pointers made by a rookie. And we're not even at the All-Star break yet, and he's doing these things. And did you know that the Charlotte Hornets are 12-1 when they start LaMelo Ball, Kon Knueppel, Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, and my boy Musa at the center spot? That is awesome. So we know our three standout players, but I want to talk about the surprise player that doesn't get that much love, and his name is Kon Sexton. The guy managed to drop 21 points in 17 minutes of play against the San Antonio Spurs, which is absolutely ridiculous. He shot 7 for 8, which is 87% from the field goal, and take this, he made 5 3-pointers at a 100% three-point efficiency. So what can we take out of a performance like this? Well, it shows us that this is what the Hornets need, a solid bench player that gets them over the hump, because the starters can only do so much. Because think about this, excluding Kon Sexton, the rest of the bench only scored 9 points, and that is not enough to beat a Spurs team. So Kon Sexton's like, I'm gonna do my job, and he scored 21 points, and that ultimately helped the Charlotte Hornets get the victory over the Spurs team. So what can we take out of this 6-game win streak? Well, it's nothing to overreact about right now, but it's very scary for the rest of the league, because all of these guys are super young, and they haven't even reached their primes yet, and they're going on runs like these. Do I think that the Hornets will make the playoffs? Yeah, they're gonna make the playoffs. And I think that they could get themselves in this play-in picture and even make their way up to that 8th seed, because it is very possible. If you guys want more breakdowns like these, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. It just helps me out and gets the video out to many more people. Love you guys. Catch you in the next banger.